Hello class, I'm Isabella Zara and I'm going to be doing questions 1 through 7. So for question 1, we decided to use body temperature for this project, and the size of this data set is 130 values and it has 3 units, which are gender, body temperature, and heart rate. We decided to use the first 10 values of the body temperature. And then for question 2, 2A, is the data set a sample or a population? This dataset is said to be a sample of 130 individuals who were randomly selected according to the description of the dataset. 2B. Does the author provide an estimate for the population standard deviation? No, an estimate for the population standard deviation is not mentioned by the author. Question 3. Evaluate the 5-number summary. So our n is equal to 130, and our minimum value is 96.3. Our Q1 is equal to 97.8, our median is equal to 98.3, our Q3 is equal to 98.7, and our maximum value is equal to 100.8. And then for question 4, we're going to be evaluating the mean, variance, and standard deviation. So our mean is going to be approximately 98.2492 rounded. And our variance is going to be approximately 0.5376, also rounded, and our standard deviation is going to be approximately 0.7332, and that one is also rounded. And then for question 5, for A, we're going to be finding the IQR, and the equation to find the IQR is going to be Q3 minus Q1, and Q3 is equal to 98.7, and Q1 is equal to 97.8. And then with plugging those in, it's going to be 98.7 subtract 97.8, which equals to 0.9. And then for B, we're going to be evaluating the z-score for the minimum and maximum value. And then the equation is going to be z equals x minus x bar over the standard deviation. So our minimum value is going to be 96.3. Our mean is going to be 98.2492. And our standard deviation is going to be 0.7332. So to find the minimum value, we're going to be using the minimum value, the mean, and the standard deviation, which is going to be 96.3, subtract 98.2492 divided by 0.7332, which equals negative 2.6585. And then to find the maximum value, it's maximum value, subtract the mean over the standard deviation, which is going to be 100.8, subtract 98.2492 over 0.7332, which equals 3.4790. And then the minimum z-score is approximately negative 2.6585, and then the maximum value for the z-score is approximately 3.4790. And then for C, we're going to be evaluating the usual interval using the mean and the standard deviation. So our mean is going to be equal to 98.2492, and our standard deviation is equal to 0.7332. And then the equation to find the usual interval is x bar, subtract 2 times the standard deviation, and then x bar plus 2 times the standard deviation. And then plugging in all of our numbers, it's going to be 98.2492 subtract 2 times 0.7332, and then 98.2492 plus 2 times 0.7332, and then that equals to 96.7828, and then 99.7156. And then the usual interval using the mean and the standard deviation is 96.7828 and 99.7156 degrees. And then for D, we're going to be evaluating the usual interval using the lower and the upper fences. So we're going to be using Q3, which is equal to 98.7, Q1, which is equal to 97.8, and then the IQR, which is equal to Q3 subtract Q1. And then plugging in the numbers, it's going to be 98.7 subtract 97.8, which equals to 0.9. So that's what our IQR is going to be. And then we're going to be using Q1, subtract 1.5 times the IQR we found above, and then Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR again. And then that's going to be 97.8 subtract 1.5 times 0.9, and 98.7 plus 1.5 times 0.9. And then that's going to equal 96.45 and 100.05. And then the interval with the upper and the lower fence is equal to 96.45 and 100.05 degrees. And then for question 6, these are going to be the following graphs. A stem plot for A, and that's going to be this. For B, a bar graph with 5 classes, which is going to be this one. And then a whisker plot, which is going to be this. And then lastly, a dot plot, which is going to be this. And then lastly, for question 7, we're going to be using the whisker plot, and we're going to be estimating the shape of the distribution. So this is our whisker plot, and then the distribution appears moderately symmetrical with a slight positive skew, given that the median is close to the midpoint between the first and the third quartiles. And the range between the minimum and the maximum values is relatively moderate. And then that's all for my questions. Thank you for listening.